I've forgotten the actual name for it, but there's a form that you have to fill out.
The name for it?
There's a form that you have to fill out.
It's a telephone call. Hello, I'm moving in with a grown-up. Now, whether that's lawful or not, I don't know. But you say a reasonable proportion is 50%. And what you did then, I have to congratulate you in this regard, was extremely sensible. And I'm grateful. And I have to say, without what you did next, this case would immediately have been dismissed. You asked Dan to sign something, correct?
Correct.
Let me see the document. Can I get it, please, Michelle? Thank you.
Sorry, it's a bit rough.
No, I'm pleased it's rough. It means it's authentic. Why did you decide to put the terms of this rental agreement in writing? It was a very sensible thing to do. There are two possible answers to the question. You have a go first.
There was two reasons why. One, due to previous experience with friends staying with me. And the second one was watching your show and and to also give him some drive, because it doesn't just outline financial...
You had me at watching your show. Here's your moment. Michelle, give him thy reward. The reality here is that you signed an agreement. This is, sir, a perfectly written agreement, subject to him being there lawful in the first place. But bearing in mind the defendant in these legal proceedings, Dan, does not dispute that his tenancy there was lawful, I can't take that any further, do you see? In the event he said to me, I was an unlawful tenant, again, your case would be over. You've signed this document. It's clear as crystal. Yep. It says as follows. You, and you've got your name, pay half of the rent. It sets out what that is, and the gas and electric and the water. The total sum is £350 per month. It couldn't be easier. Then it says as follows. I also agree. These are terms and conditions, sir. These, I have to tell you, I hadn't seen because the writing isn't clear. This is an ancient document. It says the following. I agree to clean up after myself. Very good. I also agree to pay for toleries. What's a toleree?
So that's my disgraceful spelling.
Toiletries.
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 Disgraceful spelling.
As Peter is paying for food and council tax. Sir, let me tell you, that represents every necessary clause for an informal lodger agreement between you and another person. Now, we get to January, you've got a whole month's grace. The reality was in January that you were making a fairly decent living. What I do want to understand, sir, is when you signed up for £350 a month, which for that part of London is fairly cheap, did you believe you could afford it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, it gets to the 28th of January, and you did, in fact, give him £200 in cash. You must have thought at that stage, all right, he hasn't given you the full amount, but you're going to be OK. Correct? That was £200 in cash. Now, mid-February, did you get the rest of the £150 in your next chunk of rent?
No, I did not.
What happened in February? No, just 1 second. Hello? What happened in February?
I lost my job.
Still no payment, correct? Why didn't you sit down with him and say, this is a financial situation I'm in?
Because I thought I could handle it.
That's such a male answer. That's the problem. And I don't criticise you as such because I get that response so often from hard-working people. It's the first time you've been out of work, right?
Yeah.
From what age?
From when I left school.
What happened? Why'd you lose the job?
I just wouldn't go to work. Didn't have the motivation to get up and go in.
Were you drinking? How much?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
I'm going to say a lot.
Well, a crate of beer a night.
What time? In the evening or getting up in the morning?
Yeah, in the evening, yeah.
Now, you don't have any inclination of this, correct?
Correct.
Was he going out in the morning or giving you the impression he wasn't there?
I was doing night shifts, so therefore I didn't really see him in the daytime. I was asleep.
It gets to February, March, and this stage, March, you're now having drunken arguments, correct?
Correct.
How badly did they get out of control?
Most of the time, Dan would talk me round. I'd start off quite angry, but, you know, the softer side would come out and I'd just kind of let it go, and then it carried on and on.
How was a job hunt going in March?
Not great.
The reason I ask you about this, sir, and that I agree to take this case, you see, is that millions of people watch my courtroom, and there are men like you that find themselves in difficult situations like yours, and one of the mistakes they make is failing properly to communicate to people that can listen, and it gets so much worse. Now, let me fast forward. That's March. Now, it goes from then. He hasn't paid you. Now, you are now, sir, under a legal obligation to enforce this debt. One of the problems with this document is, although it specifies that he has to give you a month's notice to leave, in other words, you can get yourself ready to find somebody else or in an appropriate financial situation to pay yourself the full amount. What you don't do in that document is specify your right to give him notice to quit. Do you see? In other words, if you don't pay your rent, you will be out in a month. Put it in there in that sort of English, understood?
Correct.
If you enjoyed that video, then I strongly suggest clicking here for more highlights. For those of you who haven't subscribed yet, and why not, so that you never miss out, subscribe. Clicking down there, that's an order.